guys, and welcome to this week's episode of Curveball, the podcast.
I'm excited about this one. We've got a bit of a Valentine special for you today.
We're talking about heartbreak, but not just heartbreak, not all the sadness and all the sorrow, heartbreak and getting your spark back.
Absolutely, like every time that a man disappoints you, you get hotter.
Every time a man breaks your heart, you get fitter.
Or woman, whatever.
I really want to throw a curveball on how we view heartbreak because I genuinely agree with what you've just said.
Yeah.
And I think that heartbreak has taught me some of the best lessons of my whole life.
Absolutely.
It's
Yeah.
literally made me the woman I am today.
Has.
And I know when you're in it and you're in the thick of it, it is absolutely impossible and it feels like nothing is ever going to be okay again.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it's also, if you choose to view it this way, a really amazing opportunity for self-discovery, for growth.
New chapters.
There's so much that can come from heartbreak.
Every door that closes, another one opens. And it's always better. I mean, let's be honest. Is there anybody that has broke your heart that you would ever think, oh my God?
Or get back with. I mean, if it's fresh and you're listening to this, you'll be like, oh my God, I miss them so much. Yes. Give it a few years. Time is the best healer. And I know that's not what you want to hear.
It really is. There is nobody that I would ever get back with out of my ex-partners.
I mean, your exes are questionable, so.
And if you're watching them, that's your own fault.
I am the woman I am today because of heartbreak. So we really wanted to talk about heartbreak today, share our heartbreaks, and then offer a little bit of wisdom and also answer some of your questions.
Yeah, we've got a bit on love languages. But also, I just want to ask you, what are you doing for Valentine's Day?
Valentines. Happy Valentines, everyone. We're going for dinner. We're doing Galentines.
We're doing Valentines.
I have the least romantic boyfriend in the whole world. I'm not actually joking when I say that. The man's never bought me flowers.
Soph just wants some flowers.
I just want some roses. So if you want to text him and let him know to get roses, and then me and you are going to go for Galentine's. That's what I'm doing.
And that's probably the best way. I wouldn't have it no other way, to be honest.
To be honest, though, just to add to that, I do think we cause ourselves a lot of pain by having expectations and not communicating them. So I have literally just said to him, you need to buy me roses. Like, let's just get down to it, because otherwise you're going to expect this, expect that, and you're always disappointed.
Expectations are the worst. This is why you shouldn't probably have expectations on it. You need to communicate what you actually want.
Or just go out for dinner with your girls.
Yeah, exactly. Do you know what? I'm the worst actually at this. I hint.
Oh, no.
My friends always say about how much I hint at things. I've learned now, but that's because I couldn't communicate before. I wasn't very good, again, with boundaries and stuff. But like, actually, I've learned now. Instead of
do you sometimes just have to tell them?
Yeah.
And I know it takes the romance out of it a little bit, but otherwise you're just going to be disappointed. What's worse?
Yeah.
I think if you wake up thinking that you're going to get flowers and cards and you get absolutely nothing, there's just nothing worse. And I know not everyone is into Valentine's, but I think if your partner is into Valentine's, then I think you should make the effort because it's important to them.
Absolutely. If it is like important to them, you should be making the effort. But we'll go more into that actually in the love languages, right? 100%. I mean, first story. I know this is going to be like we're going to turn
Stick
this
with
around.
us.
Yeah. First heartbreak, Soph.
Oh, don't. My first heartbreak. Do you know what? My actual first heartbreak was my dad telling me that he was leaving. Like, non-romantic heartbreak, because I think there's so many different types of heartbreak. Yeah, my mum and dad split up when I was 8, and my dad sitting me down on the end of the bed and telling me he was going is the first time I can remember in my life where I really look back and just can feel that.
Yeah.
Because heartbreak is such a physical experience, like your cortisol surges, you get actual chest pain. My dad telling me he was leaving is the first time I can actually remember feeling that. Wow. And then my first romantic heartbreak, so I was in a relationship from 15 to 20 or 21, like 5 years. And he broke up with me and absolutely ripped my heart out my chest. Now, let me tell you, thank fucking God. Thank God. Can you imagine?
No.
Can you imagine if you'd stayed with that first love who you thought was like the sun, the moon, the stars?
Yeah.
Nah. And honestly, at the time, I felt like someone had taken my heart out of my chest.
It is, like you said, it's such a physical thing.
I felt like I just could not live without him. I didn't know who I was without him.
But it's a loss,
I was
though, right?
so young, and like he was the only person I'd ever slept with, turning 21.
Yeah.
Like there was just so much emotion. And he treated me like shit. He cheated on me week in, week out, I found out retrospectively. But still, at the time, as that lost little 21-year-old, it did just feel like the absolute end of the world. But can hands down say, it is one of the best things that's ever happened to me. I'm so grateful What was your first heartbreak?
Mine actually was similar age. I think it was 22. Yeah, I'd actually been in relationships as well from being 14.
Wow.
With two different... Wait, this sounds really bad actually when I say this. Actually, I was in relationships with 3 different people over a 9-year period. So I'd not been single since I was like 14.
Ah, you're one of them. People do this back to back to back.
Never cheated, by the way, never cheated. But I had it, just want to let you know, I genuinely never cheated. But I'd kind of like, within the first week or so, I'd met somebody else and I just fell into it.
Instead of processing your emotions.
Oh my God, I did process until the last one 9 years later. And like, I'm talking about, I bought a house with one of these men. I lived with the other one. I worked with the other one. Like, he was my life. Like, I adored him, the last one.
Big relationship.
Huge. He changed everything. I was so close to the families, all of them. Or really close with all the families, actually.
That's kind of like then you got to the end of the 9 years and you had like one big heartbreak.
Oh, it was huge. And it just hit me like a ton of bricks. It was really sad actually, because I went on a little trip to Thailand actually. I went travelling and found out he'd basically at that time he was trying to cheat on me whilst I was there. Trying, guys. Like, this is going to be for the millennials.
Tell us this story, please.
This is going to be for the millennials, and I honestly, it's so funny talking about it now, but it did rip my heart out at the time. I was so gutted. I'd gone to Thailand with one of my best friends. We were only 2 days in, guys. 2 days in. Not even like a few weeks. We lived together. We worked together. And I just knew something was wrong. Back then, we didn't have phones with internet.
So you're in Thailand, he's not?
No,
right.
He was back at home.
Right.
And I was like saying to my friend, we need to go to an internet cafe. This is how old I was, right? You couldn't get that internet on your phone. Yeah. I was like, we need to go, there's something wrong. She was like, you're going like nuts. What is wrong with you? We went, I logged into his messenger.
Do not condone this.
I know, I was like, it's a long time.
Wouldn't recommend. Nothing good ever comes from it.
12 years ago. Okay. Logged into it and I could see it happening in front of me on Messenger, on Facebook, because back then with the emails and stuff, you could see it all coming up. He was literally talking to this younger girl. Like, she was about 18 years old, 2 children. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I was just absolutely just done in. I just knew because he was trying to, cheat on me that night. And I'm like, it's not even been a week. It'd been 2 days.
But also, can I say, trying to cheat on me, I think he kind of was cheating on you at that point.
Yeah,
that just is cheating, whether he put in stick in her or not.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if you are actually actively contacting or speaking to somebody else, that's cheating. That is cheating. In my
Well, I hope he's grown. We all grow and evolve.
And I found that out, and I ended it with him because we spoke to the girl, and she told me, they'd been doing X, Y, Z. Ended it with him. Got back together when I got back from Thailand. But when I was in Thailand, it was the best place you could have ever done that to me. Because I had the best time ever.
I went to Thailand after my big heartbreak as well.
Did you actually?
For 3.5 months.
Wow. Yeah. Oh my God. I wish I'd have done 3.5 months, because we probably want to go back together then, actually. Yeah. And I did get back with him, and it didn't last much longer after that. He, acted very silly, and we both did in the end. And we're both young and silly. And you know what? We still actually now would speak to each other. We have a lot of mutual friends. I'm actually going to a wedding this year. God, this is going to come out as well. I'm actually going to a wedding for his best friend this year.
Are you going to see him?
Yeah, and his wife, and his lovely wife, and the children will be there. So it's very different now. It's a long time ago, but like, he ripped my heart out then, and it's absolutely fine now. Thank God you did, because you've got a beautiful wife and children. Just thank God. Like, life could have been very different, and it's meant to go the way it is for a reason, But like I say, we've got really close friends still. And I will see him, yeah.
I think you do have to look back as well and take self-responsibility, because as much as I say, my first ex cheated on me left, right and centre, I do look back and I just think we were both so young. I'm sure we've both gone on really big growth journeys since. There's no malice there.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm glad that those things happened, because it made me who I am today. So if you're going through it right now, hang on tight, because you might get to a point, you will get to a point where you can sort of see it for what it was.
And honestly, it is the best, because like I say, you just come out of it in such a different light. And like, if it wasn't for that, and then I went travelling again after that. I met so many more people, and moved to London, Manchester. I've been all over the world since, and it's like, thank God, because I would never have. I thought I was going to marry that man.
And I think that's it. When I say let's put a curveball on heartbreak, for me it's all about what's the opportunity. So solo travel has been really important for both of us. I never would have done that had I stayed in that relationship. I didn't have the freedom within that relationship.
You wouldn't want us to probably leave him.
I wouldn't. I was addicted to him. I was obsessed with him. I wouldn't want to leave him for a week, let alone go travelling for 3 months. Awful.
It's crazy, isn't it, when we think? But again, that's growth. Like, 12 for us, 12 years ago? A lot changes, doesn't it?
Lifetime.
And you realise,
I've also been through a really big heartbreak in recent years. So I was with my partner in Australia for 9 years, which is basically a marriage.
9 years is a long time.
9 years is a
Especially one
really,
person.
really long time. I was 21 when I met him. I was 30 when I split up with him. And I really want to share this because we broke up in the most beautiful way.
What do you mean?
We had just like what I would call like a conscious uncoupling.
Okay.
We just had very grown up, very mature conversations that have allowed us to be in a space where there's still so much mutual love and respect. There's no romantic love anymore, but I still have just so much love for him. Like, he was part of my family for such a long time. He was my best friend in Australia, and whilst there's no romantic love there, we were able to end it in a way that was just like, I wish you genuinely nothing but love.
Oh, that's nice.
I still have a good relationship with his daughter, and I think there's a lot to be said for breakups don't always have to be messy and toxic, and you don't always have to be right or trying to prove a point.
Absolutely not. That ego needs to go away when it comes to a
Big time.
breakup. Yeah.
We broke up in a way that was just right for both of us. We were able to support both each other through it. We've been able to maintain friendships with each other's friends. It's just been very, very healthy, and I think I kind of want to add that because as much as our first breakup was like messy and toxic and cheating and this and rah rah rah, find out this in Thailand, actually heartbreak as you go through your life can grow and evolve as you do. So it was really indicative of how much I'd grown in my own life personally, and for him as well, that we were able to just be so mature and so grown up, and that we're still able now to just have really lovely conversations here and there and support each other and clap from afar.
That's a good relationship, actually, isn't it? And that just shows well respect for each other. Like, I find that
Can be like that.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, to be fair, actually, my ex-partners that didn't end really badly. I mean, that didn't end in the end that bad anyway, but in comparison. So I have still got respect for them people that we ended it in a better way, and I can communicate about it because you know it went right and it's fine. Like, it's cool. Like,
I think we should be able to, like, at the end of that relationship, this sounds crazy, but I felt like I just wanted to give it a massive round of applause.
yeah, that celebrated that bit of your life. That's it.
It wasn't a failure. It was just a chapter that came to an end. And I think if we can start to view heartbreak like that sometimes, or the end of a relationship as just, it's time for a new chapter, and as sad as it is in the moment, it's not a failure. It was still an incredible relationship. Who's to say that things have to last forever to be a success? That was a success for those 9 years, and I'm really grateful for it.
I feel like a lot of people, though, when it comes to heartbreak, because it can kill you. And if you have put your all into everybody that you've dated, you know, and you're just not getting that back, I think, again, what we've spoken about previously on podcasts is it's allowing people to make you feel like that. So it's all about the love that you have for yourself there as well.
Not giving people that power.
Yeah.
Keeping your own identity in a relationship is so important.
And actually just going, you know what, that wasn't right for me, and that's not acceptable, and I'm going to walk away from this with my head up high. There's no toxicity here. I'm just walking away because this is not okay.
Yeah,
that's
I couldn't
fine.
agree more. I think
You know yourself there, and you've got self-love and respect, I think, is key here for yourself to just be like, this is not for me, and that's okay. Or we love each other still, but it's not working. I'm done here.
I never want to be in a position, and I never want to see any of my girlfriends in a position where they can't leave a relationship because of financial reasons, because they are emotionally tied to them, because they don't have enough going on in their life outside of that person. I firmly believe that for a relationship to be healthy, you shouldn't need that person. You should want them with your whole heart because they add value, but you don't need them. Like, I don't need anyone, I'm good. And I think that's the biggest thing that heartbreak has taught me. When I broke up with my ex after 9 years, we were so financially tied together in Australia that coming back here, signing a lease on my own, doing all of these things financially on my own was terrifying. I felt like I had the weight of the world on my shoulders, and it took me a really long time to just realise, and it's been the most empowering thing ever to realise, I've got me.
Yeah,
No one can
absolutely.
take
No one can take that identity away from you. I think I've seen in relationships, marriages, my friends as well, like, you know, they've always kept their identities. They've always done their own things. They always go separate. They've got, not the separate lives like that, but like they go do their things, their nice things together, and then they come back together as a partnership. And I think that's really important as well. I think codependency is scary. And I think
Scary to be in it.
it's very scary, and that's something I wouldn't want my friends to be in either, or myself, ever.
No.
So to have dependency in that way, I think is very healthy.
Also because you're only in control of your actions, right?
Yeah, of course,
so when me and my ex broke up, that was my decision.
Yeah.
And I absolutely flipped his life on his head, and he never would have, he never would have predicted that.
Yeah.
Obviously, there was things leading up to it. I didn't just completely blindside him, but more to the point, there was nothing that he could have said or done to control the fact that I had had a change of heart.
Yeah.
And that can happen to anyone at any point. The only thing you're in control of is yourself. Yeah. So you don't want to be codependent, because then what if that person does decide this isn't for them anymore for whatever reason, because things change, and then your whole life is completely on its head. Yeah. So I think that's a good lesson to take from heartbreak. From our heartbreak.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, that kind of goes on to lead on to what I was going to chat about, is like, it doesn't have to be, when we're talking about heartbreaks and things like that, it doesn't have to be romantic relationships. We spoke with, like, talked about family, but also like friendships.
Oh, yeah.
For me, I've got amazing friends. Like, I'm single, so I've got amazing friends around me, and I'm so lucky and grateful to have these women around me. Like, they're really good, strong women. And I think to have that support system is incredibly important. And I do believe that some of our friends are soulmates rather than partners,
Time. I think we get more out of our female friendships.
Yeah, it takes a village, right, to build. So,
but also they're always going to be there. Like I've just told you, I was in a 5-year relationship, then 9-year relationship. My best friends were there for all of that, and they will be for the next 50 years of whatever's coming.
Don't ever lose your friends to a bloke. I don't care if you're married to him for 20 years. Your best friend will always stick around.
No, a man can go before my best friend.
Yeah, 100%.
Amen.
But I think that's very important.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
asking yourself what you can do now that you're single. So actually, reframing heartbreak as being like, oh, this is quite exciting. And if you're not there yet, you will get there.
By the way, that glow up is the best ever. Honestly, every time, like I mentioned this in the beginning, but every time that a man has disappointed me, I have had a glow up. I kid you not. I've started a new hobby.
I'm so much sexier when I'm single.
Me too.
Amen.
Well, I mean, I'm single now.
I'm sexy anyway. I thought you were going to say I'm sexy anyway.
No, you are sexy. But I do believe, like, every time, because you want to reinvent and better yourself every time. So actually, it's not a bad thing.
So take that glow up and ask yourself, what is something that I've always wanted to do, but a relationship has held me back? I've written notes on this, which are actually quite funny because I don't remember writing this, but I've written, do you want to travel solo? And you've never been able to do that because you've been in a relationship. Do you want to start a business? Do you want to have a threesome? That's what I've written. But do you want to have a threesome and your ex wasn't up for it? Whatever it is that's like, I want to tick that off my list. I want to do that for me. The world is your oyster now. You can do all of these things. You can be your own person.
You actually can.
When you start to view heartbreak like that, you're like, oh, it's a bit exciting.
And very scary. And I think that's what a lot of people... It's very
fruity and scary.
Fruity and scary. But I think that's what a lot of people that are in relationships, that aren't in happy relationships, are scared of that.
But it's the best thing ever. You have to get over this mountain, and don't get me wrong, it's awful.
Nothing great came from a comfort zone.
It's awful. I mean, I literally got shingles, throwing up, being sick, awful heartbreak, like horrendous. But you come out the other side of that, let me tell you, it's the best feeling ever.
Shall we move on to then, for obviously Valentine's purposes and love purposes, love languages?
Love purposes.
Because
teach us.
So love languages, right? The top 5 love languages. Well, they are the only 5 love languages. And it's Gary Chapman, right, where it's originally come from, the book.
Yep.
And if you go on his website, because you'll probably get more information from this than me, but it is 5lovelanguages.com. And you can go do a quiz.
Amazing. So love languages is all about how you give and receive love. So we are all guilty of giving love in the way that we want to receive it.
Yes, we are, because we don't understand the others, right?
Yeah.
We always put our first because we expect the same of others.
Yeah.
And they're not.
No,
but the thing is that we need to know what our partner's love languages are in order to be able to give love how they are going to feel loved. Absolutely. So it's all about how you feel loved and how you show your love. So the 5 love languages are...
We have the 5 love languages.
Yes.
So we have quality time,
yeah,
which is when you appreciate spending time with somebody.
Yeah.
Right.
And you make time for people, you prioritise time.
Yeah. Yeah. Acts of service.
Doing the hoovering, putting the bins out, making me a brew.
God,
you
bringing
see
food.
The light bulb's gone, so you change it.
Bringing food. Maybe, is that one of them?
Yeah.
Like that? Yeah.
Food, Chinese. Bring Kayleigh a Chinese as her love language. God's sake.
It really is.
I know.
It really is. I love Chinese. Physical touch.
Yes. Which doesn't have to be sex. This can be hand-holding, cuddles, kissing, cuddles in bed, all that kind of stuff, and also physical intimacy. And then the last 2 are words of affirmation,
Yeah.
which is basically telling someone that you love them, writing them a lovely birthday card or Valentine's card, words, telling someone you're really proud of them, compliments.
Yeah.
And then the final one is gifts.
Yeah.
And gifts gets a bit of a bad rap, but it shouldn't. So gifts is just people who feel loved and appreciated by receiving gifts.
Yeah.
It can be quite low for people, it can be their number one, but gifts is, quite self-explanatory, but it shouldn't be viewed in a negative light.
I know. Well, it's like, flowers or a Lamborghini. Like, you know, it's different.
I want the roses.
Different levels. So want some roses. I'd like some roses too.
I'm going to get you some roses. I shouldn't have told you that. Yeah, okay, cute. What's your... Actually, let me guess what your love language is. Oh.
Yeah. I'm a complicated one.
Yeah, you're a bit of everything.
I am.
I think you're going to be the same as me because we're quite similar,
Yeah.
but I might be really wrong.
Go on.
Physical touch.
Well,
Quality time.
quality time is high on mine. Yeah. Very, very much
Number
so.
one? Do you know what yours are?
Yeah, I do.
Okay, go on.
I do. It's acts of service.
Okay.
I really appreciate somebody doing something kind for me. I really like kind and thoughtful people. I just think...
Can I just add there as well? This is so helpful to know about your friends,
Yes, it is.
your family, because I know that about you now. Like one of my best friends is words, and I'm not really a words person, but I will write her the mushiest birthday cards because I know it means a lot to her. So now I know your acts of service. I'm like, okay, sorted. What do you think mine are?
Well, torch. Yeah. For sure.
Why are you so confident it's touch?
Because that's the first thing you said about me. So I know your is, and I know you like a good cuddle.
I thought you were going to say something else. I do love a good cuddle.
You like a good cuddle.
That smutty laugh. Nothing better than a cuddle at a Chinese. Physical touch is my number one, you're right.
Physical touch is your number one. And I'm going to say quality time. Yeah.
Yeah, that's me.
I think that's that, yeah.
So that is how I receive love. And this is why it's so important to do your love language, know your love language, force your partner to do his because he's not going to want to do it, let's be bloody honest. And then...
communicate it with them.
Communicate.
I think that's really you can observe without communicating, but actually just ask.
Yeah. And then do things in line with those love languages to strengthen your relationships with your friends, with your family, with your romantic partners. Absolutely love that.
Because, you have to be mindful of other people aren't the same as you. No one's the same as you, so no one's going to want the same as you, but
Yeah. Love languages, love that. One thing I will say on Heartbreak, if you are going through it right now, is that grief, which is what heartbreak is, any big change in your life, you go through a grieving process, and grief comes in waves. So one of my best friends, Darcy, she gave me this analogy when I was just back from Australia and I was going through it. And I remember sitting down having a glass of red wine, and I think might have even been bawling my eyes out. And she gave me this analogy, and I was like, this has always stuck with me, and I share it with everyone. So she was like, right now, you are in the middle of the ocean, okay? And the waves are so high and they're so close together. So they're just knocking you sideways. You don't know if you're coming or going. You're just fresh in heartbreak. It's absolutely awful. They're so high, they're so close together. Over time, what happens is the waves spread out a bit. So they're still really high, but you might manage to go 2 or 3 days without crying. You might manage to go a week without crying. These waves are still going to hit you, smash you left, right, sideways. They're just going to spread out a bit. And then over more time, what happens is the waves become a lot lower and a lot further apart. So it's a lot more manageable. And it's not to say it won't still be there. It's perfectly normal to still cry about a broken heart years after. It's perfectly normal to still miss that person, but the waves are going to get lower and they're going to get less far apart. Occasionally, big one, going to knock you sideways. It's okay. But when you're in it and you can just imagine yourself, it was so visual for me and it helped me so much to just imagine myself in the middle of the ocean in these waves and know it's going to calm. It is going to calm. Hold on tight. It will be okay. And it's so true. And it helped me so much.
I love that analogy, and I think that's really helpful to people who are going through it. Everything is going to be okay.
Hold on tight. On that note, shall we answer some audience questions?
Oh, yeah, we got a few of our audience that sent these questions in, actually, didn't we, so?
Heartbreak questions. So this is a really common one. So I am so embarrassed about my breakup and I can't get past that. Can you help me to feel more normal about it?
Ooh, embarrassed. That's a really sad word, that embarrassed, I think, because no one should be embarrassed about something that's happened to you that's probably not in your hands. And I think, again, that's a reflection of how you're feeling about yourself, right? Because that's just how you feel and you're thinking of other people there. Right?
I think when we look at shame and embarrassment, it comes back to this fear or this consideration of what other people think of us.
That's it,
because if you imagine yourself on a desert island and it was just you and him and he broke up with you, you wouldn't be embarrassed. You're embarrassed because you've got to tell people, because it changes your life, because it's public. And I think you've got to get out of a headspace of worrying constantly about what other people are going to think and what other people are going to say, and try and get yourself into a space where you're living your life for you.
Exactly. Again, that's back to the self-love, right? This is about you doing just work on yourself to make you feel better about you. Absolutely. And that actually probably ties into what we've said previously about that and how to...
Diving into self-love is the fastest way you'll get past shame and embarrassment.
Oh, God, absolutely.
For sure.
Do you think that you ever truly get over your first love?
Oh, good question. That is definitely a question from someone who is not over the first love. I think get over is the wrong terminology. I will always have love for my first love. I'll always have love for him. I am over it big time in the sense of, do I want him back? Do I still have romantic feelings for him? No. But do I think you get over your first love? I think you move past it. I think you grow. I think you evolve. I think you always miss the woman I was before that first heartbreak.
Do you? And I think you're so vulnerable and just...
I think your first love is so whimsical and like you're so obsessed and addicted to them, and there's something really beautiful about that. There's something beautiful about that feeling of like, can't live without them, but getting past it is the best feeling in the world.
Absolutely.
So do I think you get over it? Maybe get over it isn't quite the right saying, but I think it always stays with you, but I think you move on from it.
I think like Adele, someone like you, you know.
Yeah, and if you're just breaking up from your first love, believe me, it takes a long time, and it makes you feel like you will never, ever get past it, but you do.
Something always comes along better.
Oh gosh, this is a good one for you.
Oh God.
Well, for both of us. My boyfriend cheated on me, and I feel like I'm never going to trust again. How on earth do I get past that?
Preach, Jesus.
Do you trust men?
Do I trust men? I have, just to point out here, I have been cheated on by everyone that I ever cared about. And and I'm not saying in no way, shape or form, but like I've never cheated because I'm such a loyal person and I genuinely love whoever I'm with. I've really shown that loyalty. So for me, when you are giving love so freely and openly to people, that it's not even like, I don't know, it's not about the trust, it's about respect for people. I don't know, I have lost respect for men. Would I trust them? I would definitely go into a relationship open to trust them. But I think you need to earn it now. And
yeah,
never
so
did
this
before.
is a good question. Do you think that you give someone 100% trust and wait for them to break it, or do you let someone build trust?
I think that I always gave them 100% trust.
Okay, maybe that's where you went wrong.
And that's where I went wrong, yeah. And let me tell you, that's been like a few times. Yeah. So I feel that you need to build on that trust. Exactly. And I think from the beginning, you never know who someone is. You know, give them 3 to 6 months.
Not just romantic relationships. You shouldn't give anyone 100% trust until they show you that they're that type of person.
Absolutely, because things change in people's lives and you don't know circumstances. So, no, I think you should trust in people when they earn it.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
So her boyfriend cheated on her. She feels like she's never going to trust again.
And that's the worst, you know, the cheating again, it's the respect for each other as well. Like, you've just, what have you done that for?
For me, I'll add to that. So, I said earlier, my first partner was unfaithful. Yeah. The guy that I was with for 9 years was the most loyal and trustworthy person on the planet. And he was so healthy and healing for me, having come from something that had no trust and thinking like this girl does, that she will never trust anyone again. Trust me, they are out there. There are good men out there. The man that I am with now, who I absolutely love to bits, is so loyal, so trustworthy. And I think when you start to... It's kind of like the energy that you're putting out, and there's a bit of self-responsibility.
Absolutely. So, I think that's a massive thing to say there, because what you are putting out, you do get back.
Yeah. So when you are manifesting a man who is loyal and trustworthy, and you start to really tune into your gut, because when I look back on situations I've been in where people have been unfaithful, my gut was screaming at me that something was wrong, and I refused to listen.
What's that?
So you will trust again. Yeah. It's just, you've got to tune into yourself and really start to listen to yourself. And when you meet someone, if they give you a giant red flag, listen to it.
Or an STI or a UTI, absolutely leave. I'm telling you, no, I like genuinely, do you know, like if you get water infections from a guy, fucking leave. I'm telling you, your gut does know. But should I delete my ex on social media? Good
question. So I think if you are in a space of stalking them, yes, delete them. If you are negatively comparing yourself, if they're moving on, if it's making you feel like shit, basically, if you go on their social media, it doesn't make you feel good, yes,
Absolutely.
100% delete them,
Yeah.
or mute them, whatever you want to do.
Yeah.
But I still have my most recent ex on social media, and because we ended it in such a amicable, lovely way, I actually just really love to see that he's happy and he's thriving and he's doing well.
I think it's how
I
you
have a
end a
really
relationship,
good
right, as
relationship
well.
with his daughter, and it's nice to keep in touch with her and see what's going on there. So you've just got to check in with yourself. If it's making you feel like shit, yes, delete your ex on social media. Big time. Don't even hesitate. I mean, delete anyone on social media who makes you feel like shit.
Absolutely, yeah. Block them, remove. No negativity for 2025. Right.
Best version of you is pending. Let me end this there.
I love that.
The best version of you is coming. If you are in the thick of heartbreak, the glow up is about to be so beautiful.
Glow up is the best
You don't need anyone other than yourself. You really don't. Like, you've got this. We've got you. You've got this. You're going to be okay. And you're going to get your spark back. And you'll wonder what on earth you were possibly doing in that relationship.
That is honestly coming from two women that have experienced it, let me tell you. But yeah, on that note, happy Valentines, happy Galentines.
Happy
and
Valentines.
whatever you are doing, I hope that it is full of self-love, love, wherever it's coming from.
Thanks for listening to Curveball, the podcast. Don't forget to like, subscribe, share, and watch us. Do all the things. We love you. We appreciate you.
We love your feedback, guys. Feel free to throw us a curveball of your own, and we'll see you next time.